Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. This week, MrWegan is going to show us how to play in the Tier 7 American heavy tank, the T29. Now the T29 is infamous probably as one of, if not the best, tanks at Tier 7 all round. It has a fantastic turret armor that is nearly impenetrable frontally. Apart from if you're meeting maybe Tier 8 and Tier 9 tanks on the cheeks, but more importantly, this giant U-hatch on top that can be taken advantage of, but only if you don't make use of the gun depression of the tank, which is excellent to be able to hide it. Now the hull armor on this tank is pretty good when it's in an excellent matchup such as this. MrWegan is only against Tier 7 and Tier 6 tanks. And thankfully, there's no artillery. And what that means is that he can be very creative about the positions that he chooses to go in to go hull down. And that is your key to victory in the T29. If you can manage to go hull down against your opponents and hide your mediocre hull armor, again unless you're in an excellent matchup, and only expose your turret, then you can make use of the excellent 105mm gun that this tank has. Unfortunately for MrWegan, his platoon mate in the Panther has already been taken out by an absolute ambush of vehicles. There is a huge number of opponents that have decided to go down the recently renovated Mannerheim line, aka Arctic region, in this southeasterly part of the map. So talking about this 105mm, it's not the most accurate gun, where it is best used probably at short to mid ranges. Just like this, he's only 100 meters from his opponents, and then you don't have to worry about the inaccuracy of this 105mm. The penetration is 198 with its standard rounds, and it has some pretty darn good alpha damage, 320. Now while that's not as much as, for example, the Soviet 122mm that would be on the comparable IS, it's a lot more than the Tiger, which he's putting a few rounds into, which has got 240 alpha damage with its 88mm. So the enemy have managed to kill all of MrWegan's friends to his east. And he has got, is that 7 or 8 opponents against him? But he does have some support, albeit that his support are starting to get rather low on their hit points. The enemy Tiger was unable to go through the T29's excellent turret armor. MrWegan was able to put in one more good shot, removing a good chunk of the Tiger's hit points. Now MrWegan is about to be flanked, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. He needs to break out one flank. He realizes that if he allows himself to be engaged from multiple angles, it's not going to be very good for him. And amazingly there, he wasn't aiming in sniper mode, and the Tiger P's gun blocked the shot for the ARL. He takes advantages of the weak cheeks of the ARL, puts a good hit through, and now he does the same to the Tiger P, although it does dip into the enemy tank's turretry. So now that he has cleaned out that flank, he can be the one to outflank his opponents as he swarms around and takes out the Tier 6 Soviet heavy tank, the KV-85, moves on for another one. And now his platoon mate is in fact trolling him. His platoon mate has died in a very inconvenient location and is using his gun barrel to block MrWegan. But he puts in a great shot into another KV-85 and dodges a shot, a returning fire shot, and proceeds to make his way round. Now he's got to watch out, there's a KV-2 which has a very meaty gun. But maybe the KV-2 wasn't quite reloaded, or he had very poor aim time. And MrWegan takes him out before probably he's going to lose a huge amount of his hit points. Now he does the same to the enemy KV-85 there. 2 quick draw shots to completely stop the enemy advancing through this flank. Now MrWegan has already got a top gun. He has killed a very large proportion of the enemy team, but there are still 5 tanks left. Thankfully for him, the enemies get a little bit overconfident here. We can see a platoon of T43 players that are deciding to flank and sweep, rather than secure the game by taking the cap circle. Now, of course, it's better to kill everyone if you believe you can do so, as you will get more experience for yourself and for your team than if you were to cap. However, when there's a T29 that has a top gun, and it hasn't even taken 1 point of damage yet, that might be a slight cause for concern. And now the enemies are locked down. Those T43s have got no escape route.
We didn't even scratch them.
And MrWegan is by himself versus 5 opponents, 2 tier 7s and 3 tier 6s. The T43s are trying to flank him, but MrWegan pokes up over the ridgeline and takes out the first T43. Now the second one, I believe, is trying to make a dash to flank him, but he is shut down as well. So those T43s definitely were overconfident there and just threw away a certain win. Not that MrWegan's complaining. He's on 8 kills and 4,500 damage in a tier 7 game, and he's still got 3 tanks left against him. Now MrWegan must be thinking, where's the Tog? The Tog was last spotted in the enemy's base. And so he pushes out just in time to avoid being flanked by a very brutal tier 6 British premium heavy tank. Now the Tog's armor might not be great, but it has more health than the T29 and a gun that's good enough to rip through its armor unless it's hull down. Now this T150 is not playing stupidly as the T43s did. He's keeping an eye on MrWegan, trying to poke some shots into him. But unfortunately for him, his tank is just a little too slow. And although he tried to track MrWegan, he puts in a good shot to finish him off. The Churchill is hull down, and the Tog comes around the corner and puts in a first hit. Nearly tracking him, but not quite enough, only doing yellow damage. Now while the Tog might have a lot of health, it does not have a lot of armor, that's for sure. MrWegan is taking advantage of that fact, and while the Tog is making 1 or 2 shots into him, he is doing a lot more damage to the Tog. So the enemy Tog panicked, tried to pull back. It was a complete misplay there by the Tog. The enemy Churchill thought very correctly that he should attack while the Tog was taking fire. But due to the poor play from the Tog to not just stay in the open and consistently fire shots into MrWegan, he's been left on a lot of health versus this Churchill Mark 7. So MrWegan comes around the corner and puts a good hit into the Churchill, and now angles the front of his hull very well indeed to start to side scrape. The Churchill thinks that he has MrWegan, but he does not. MrWegan is just waiting for his moment to try and put another shot into him. And by side scraping here, he has let the Churchill hold him still via tracking, and there's nothing that he can do. Now in theory, the Churchill probably has quite a lot of ammunition, and he could hold MrWegan here for the whole time. But the Churchill is not content to do so. And he's trying to go to shots, and not today. MrWegan puts in the final hit of the game, securing his 11th kill, and winning a fight alone versus 5 opponents. Now there were a few key moments of the game here. MrWegan saw that there were no artillery on the enemy team, and so that meant that he could be very creative about the positions that he used to go hull down. Using the strength of the T29 turret, he was able to use this position to hold off an enemy flank and keep a lot of them locked down. He was able to secure kills on 2 tier 6 heavy tanks, a tier 7 heavy tank, as well as putting shots into a Tiger who decided to try and flank around to take him out. Next, one of the key moments of this battle was when MrWegan saw that the enemy tanks were going to flank around him. And by that stage, he had not dealt with the tanks that were above him. When you're about to be flanked from multiple directions, there's only one way to survive, and that is to take out one flank so then you can secure the rear of your vehicle and engage the enemies frontally. By doing this and removing out one of the flanks, MrWegan was able to out-position his opponents and secure a flank for his team. From here, MrWegan was able to go hull down and use the fact that the enemies were very overconfident and did not secure the cap circle to take them out one by one by one by one. Now there is no doubt that this was an amazing matchup for MrWegan, but the graveyard that he created on this southern flank was very impressive, managing to survive the battle with quite a lot of his hit points intact and win 5 versus 1 really showcases the skill of him as a player, as well as the strengths of the T29, probably the best tier 7 tank. Anyway, let's just take a very quick look at the post-game stats. MrWegan secured the Pools and the Kolobanov's medals, 2 of the very best that you can get in the game, as well as picking up a high caliber and a steel wall. He probably had a very good giggle at his platoon mate at simply how hard he carried him. And not only him, but the entirety of the team, getting a whopping 2,167 base experience points. Seeing a replay such as this really makes me want to go get back into the T29. And I do fully recommend it. It's a fantastic vehicle, especially if maybe you haven't tried out tanks with gun depression before, with undoubtedly one of the best turrets tier for tier in the game. MrWegan, thank you so much for submitting this replay. I thoroughly enjoyed it and I hope everyone else did too. If you did, please consider giving this video a like down below. It will really help the channel out. And let me know in the comments down below what you think about the T29. Do you agree with me that it's probably the best all-round tier 7 for simply having a huge impact in any game? Or do you have a different tier 7 that you think is better? And let me know why. Anyway, as always guys, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic and hopefully I'll see you soon.